So, I figured it might be worth asking the question, what makes an AI whisperer? And there are many things that make an AI whisperer, but I think these 4 things are perhaps the most important. And I'll be happy to have a conversation with anyone about this if one ensued. But I think it's very much a case of right brain, left brain. So in terms of generative AI in particular, we need that creative spark, that initial thought to get us going. We need to have a goal or a purpose or something to perform and get some output from the machine. We need an idea, essentially, particularly with Midjourney, but also with ChatGPT if we're writing copy or we're trying to get to an end result. So the creative part has to come from the human. We have to bring the machine into life, of course. It's like the difference between a particle wave being brought into reality. Then very much a case of quality in, quality out. I've talked to many of you in the room and sort of given away a lot of this talk in conversation over the last sort of 48 hours. But I think everyone I've talked to has agreed that it is very much a case of quality in, quality out. You need to know how to talk to the machine to get the result, and the result is very much completely directly dependent on what the input is, which leads on to the next point, which is about experience and curiosity and creativity. And again, particularly with, I would say, Midjourney, but also with the large language models, it's almost the case that the older you are, or the more experienced you are, or the more curious you are, the better chance you've got of getting a good result out of it. And what I mean by that is that you're going to have either a career's worth or many years' worth of experience to draw on of reference points such as artists, designers, styles, product, design, architecture, et cetera, or whatever it might be, which you can then use to plug back into the machine to get the result that you're after. And then time spent with the machine. There's no substitute for spending time with any tool to get used to it and get familiar with it and get good at it. So this is where we kind of shoot off a little bit, and I'm taking a massive risk today by doing a little bit of a live demo of some software that was released to me for this particular talk. We'll get to that in a bit. But the question is, shall we try a little design and build with AI? And I'm not expecting a show of hands, because if anyone said no, then I haven't got to talk, so forget that. So what we'll try and do is go through a little process. It's going to be accelerated, it's going to be fast, it's going to be top level. But for anyone in the room who might be a bit curious and maybe hasn't delved as deep as others, then there might be a bit of eye-opening to do. So the project in question, we're gonna try this, and this is kind of a synthesis, if you like, of a project that we've got going on for New Balance at the moment, parts of it at least. We're imagining that New Balance want to do a piece of work, a campaign, for and with the London Marathon, which is an event that they sponsor, headline, every year. And for that, we're going to make some content, and then we're going to go through a kind of a light UX process, and then we're going to make some wireframes, which is the really scary bit, because that's where the demo comes in. So in terms of making the content, well, we'll talk about prompt craft, basically. I've talked about what makes a good prompt engineer, particularly in Midjourney, and let's break that down to show you what I mean in a practical way. What we're going to do as part of this content for the site is we're going to create a limited edition shoe for the London Marathon by New Balance, themed on or with something to do with London. In this case, our London theme is a guy called Christopher Rayburn, who is a London-based fashion designer. He makes streetwear, very kind of pared-back, minimal look. And we're going to invoke his name. But to start with, in green at the top, we're going to upload a picture of the shoes that we want to model our output on, which is a New Balance 1080. It's kind of their Rolls-Royce of running shoes. So we upload the image into Midjourney, we get the URL of that, and then we can call that out as our model when we play it back into the machine. So the machine now knows that it needs to make a shoe that looks exactly like this, or as close to it as possible. Then we're going to get to the subject details of the prompt. We want it to be, we want to call this out again, that it's a New Balance running shoe, to double down on that, to make absolutely damn sure that the machine knows it gives us the N logo, essentially, on the shoe. We want it to be navy blue tones, dolphin pattern flying it, made of recycled material, designed by Christopher Rayburn, because those are all things, like big themes of what Christopher's work is. And then there's a nice kind of fit here because New Balance, I hesitate to say this given the talk from Livon this morning, but they are into sustainability and they do use recycled material wherever possible. So Christopher does the same thing. So there's a link there. Yeah, so that's our subject details. But then we get to the technical stuff. So by now, I think you're getting the picture that we are calling all sorts of reference points into our prompt to get a result back. But then we get to the technical details. We want dramatic studio lighting, studio photography. We want a London map in the background, preferably in this product shot. We're making a product shot here. We don't necessarily need to say it's a product shot, but we're telling it that by wanting it to be studio photography, that's what we're after. And then we want it to be shot on a high-end studio camera with an 80mm lens, aperture f4. So all of that stuff, all of that experience is now coming to bear and hopefully, bringing us some fruit. There we go. So Midjourney, hands up who's used Midjourney in the room, actually. Let's go to that place. Quite a lot of you, right? So you'll know then that it's not just a case of sticking a prompt in and 2 minutes later you've got an output, which is what we hear a lot of people saying, and it's not the case at all. It's an iterative process. We go through both crafting the prompt and working with our output, and oftentimes going through variations and re-rolls of the output to get to a place that we're happy with. So this was probably the result of about 2 to 3 hours work. And there were more selects that we took off the back of this. But we can see I think, a really striking, good-looking product shot that we've got here. We've got the N logo that's coming through loud and proud. The lighting looks great. We've got that London background in the map. We've got some kind of organic patterning happening on the shoe as well. And interestingly, we've got this orange sole. Now, if I go back to the point I made about invoking Christopher Rayburn's name, just by calling out his name, we've interrogated the data set, and the data set's come back and said, hey, Christopher Rayburn designs with, I don't know, neutral tones, and he has a monogram that features orange, which in this case is coming through on the sole of the shoe. So that's what a well-constructed prompt looks like, whereas a not so well-constructed prompt might look something like this. A photo of a New Balance running shoe, could be any New Balance running shoe, blue and orange. And if you're in Midjourney, in Discord, you're seeing good prompts, bad prompts coming, so you very quickly get a flavor of what's going to work and what's not going to work for people. But someone new to it might go like super generic and super wide like this to start with. And this is what you get. Something super generic and wide. The machine doesn't know what to do with that, so it makes it up as it goes along. Not any particular type of shoe, all sorts of stuff going on. This weird kind of Midjourney stuff that used to happen in version 4 on the right-hand side as well. So yeah, not such a good result.